Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
Hey, this is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. I'm with the Cockerel, Alan Cochrane. Oh, I can't make his jingle work.
Oh, no.
It's it's the worst possible start.
Are we going to
maybe not? No.
Doing it. There we go.
Phew. And Holly Walsh is with us today. Now let me see what we can have for. I might have to go back to the older.
I was in a brass band for a good few years, so that suits me.
I see you as a cornetist.
You're right.
Was I?
Could you tell by my embouchure?
Your what?
My embouchure.
What does that mean?
An embouchure.
Where
It's
they pucker their mouth
yes,
up
the circle where you blow through when you're playing the trumpet.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to guess that in case you took embouchure. So, what's the word?
Embouchure.
No, I've never heard that before.
I thought it was embrasure, but what do I know?
Hey.
Well, that's this week's text in.
That's the
how
of
do
the
you
day.
say embouchure? No, don't really. So it's like that extra mouthpiece bit that you put on a brass instrument.
No, that's the mouthpiece. It's the I might be wrong about this, but I think that an embouchure is the sort of
It's the way you pucker
it's
up
the way you
for
puck
it.
your lips
Oh, it's that. Yeah, I know what you mean.
to get blowing.
Is your embrasure.
Brilliant. I'm looking at Sandy Walker. Sandy Walker knows everything, and she's in the next room, and she's pointing at her lips and giving me a thumbs up, which basically is a signal I've been waiting to get from her for about 3 years. But that's
It is your birthday.
exactly. It's way overdue. So here we are today, and I've had I've had a week a bit like Bear Grylls must have most weeks when he goes back to the wilderness and just lives on his wits,
Right.
that kind of thing.
From his mansion, presumably.
No, I think he's.
I was an apartment dweller. Do you know?
I imagine Bear just lives in the wild, doesn't he?
No, that's the trick they all peddle for you. Then they go back to their house.
Oh, remember John Noakes used to do that on Go With Noakes? Remember that? He used to say good night to the camera, zip up the tent. Then the minute the camera stopped running, he's off to a 5-star hotel. The dog was just left to wander. So, is the Cockerel a bit quiet this morning? Or is
Am I?
I don't know. It's my birthday. My hearing could go without a
just
gradual
out.
ramp. Just
So-
go really suddenly.
Maybe we're factoring in the fact that I normally get louder through performance adrenaline. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you're famed for the amount of adrenaline
I'm like a coiled spring here.
you generate. No, that sounds. I can't hear me now. Oh, people don't want to hear all that, do they? What they can hear and what I can. Now that's much better.
People listening to
Oh, we can start the
Probably
show
done
again
this
now.
first,
Hey,
haven't
good
you?
morning. It's Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Oh, that was my embouchure.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. No, we had a power cut at our flats this week.
Your flat, sir.
My flat. Well, I mean, I live in
block.
flats. I live in a flat in a block of
Yeah,
flats.
but you only own a flat in it.
Oh yes, I only own a flat.
I don't think she's calling you a loser. I think she's being pedantic.
Okay, thank goodness for that. How many flats do people normally have?
Well, you said flats like you owned a few, and this was a problem for you.
What wouldn't you say our flats, meaning our?
No, I'd say my flat.
Oh.
But the power cut was in the whole block.
Well, our block of flats then.
Oh God, this is going to be a tricky morning, isn't it? Okay, well, in our block of flats, we had a big power cut on, and it was off from 11 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night.
Really?
And it's quite cold at the moment, and it was difficult. I'll be straight with you.
What was the heating effect?
Everything. No heating. I mean, we were in desperate fear for the freezer. We got a lot of stuff in there.
Isn't it all right as long as you don't open the freezer?
No, well,
though?
that's what everyone said. Don't open the freezer door. But my girlfriend was very worried the stuff was going to go off and we were going to die of food poisoning. I was at the freezer door. It was like the Chilean miners. Me saying, "Look, we're doing everything we can to the frozen stuff." But that's what we were told. As long as you don't open the freezer door, it'll stay frozen for several hours. But it was like the war. It was very.
Exciting.
I went over to the window and shook my fist at the Luftwaffe at one point, just for old time's sake.
Have you got a torch application on your phone? That's the That's
Do you know? I have no idea.
I always use the sort of screen on my phone as a way of finding my way.
If you've got a popular phone that I think we all have, then there's a torch app that's very useful. I cannot wait to get an opportunity. If someone's lost their keys, or if we're at the cinema and I don't know where my seat. Hang on a second, boom, I'm there.
You should download the new Olympic torch app, which I think lasts forever.
That sounds good. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be brilliant, just to celebrate the 21st century, if everyone ran round Britain holding up a phone with the Olympic torch app on it for the Olympics? Because the old rubbish torch. Oh, I've gone. I'm old.
The Olympic lamp.
I'm just an old man, Commander. That's what the spy used to say in Stingray when they came round his house. And even though he was a spy, he'd pretend he was just an old man living on an island.
Oh.
X20 he was called. Which is, incidentally, is the same number of the bus that goes from Birmingham to Stratford-on-Avon. You can text us in on 8 12 15. It's my birthday. Don't do what I like. You can text us in on 8 12 15, and I have more tales of the power cut. I mean, it was traumatic in many ways, but it was good in that it reminded me that if I have to, I could survive.
Absolute Radio. Frank Skinner.
Yeah, so I was talking about my my power cut thing. It was quite romantic, actually. Me and the girlfriend in candlelight.
Oh yeah, nice.
And we had to talk. Yeah, because obviously the telly wasn't on and stuff. And we sat for a bit in silent darkness, and then eventually the words sort of dripped out, like water coming through a rock.
You don't have a battery-operated radio or anything? Just, I hate to keep bombarding you with these other options.
I don't think we do have a battery-operated radio. There was, I was being at my most inventive. At one point, I went out into, because the common areas they kept supplied electricity for emergency exits.
Oh, they've got
so I had this brilliant idea, necessity being the mother of invention. I went out into the hallway, found a socket, and plugged in the kettle. Just sat like an old Indian fakir next to the steaming kettle. I really felt, wow, man, that was a brilliant idea for me to think of that.
I seem to remember us rolling paper up to make it catch a... Oh, no, hang on. Yeah.
No, you're thinking of arson.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
We used to... I went to boarding school, and on power cut we had to go and sit downstairs, all of us, and we'd sit in a huge sort of... it was called the day room, all like 100 people in my house, and we'd sing campfire songs until the power came back on.
Oh, how lovely.
Yeah, all of it. Anyone you can name, we sang it.
And was there a campfire of any kind?
It wasn't.
Was there a campfire app?
Stared up. Yeah.
There was no campfire apps in those days. No, that was...
And so do you think it stood you in good stead for...
well, it just means that in any kind of emergency, I'm quite drawn to Kumbaya.
Yeah, Yellow Submarine. Yeah. I bet you did a bit of Yellow Submarine, didn't you?
Anything with a round.
I don't think I could have tempted Kath into a sing-song. She's not that kind of partner. No.
Would she have... is it Lars Ulrich... Not Lars Ulrich. Ulrich Schnauz.
Ulrich. If it had been Ulrich Schnauz, she would have joined in. But with electronica and shoegaze, it's quite difficult in a power cut.
Lars Ulrich, I think, is a disgraced cyclist, isn't he?
Aren't we all?
Isn't he?
I think I might have been confused there.
There was a bit that she did find hilarious, and she doesn't laugh at much, my girlfriend, but there was a bit where I was... Because I had stuff I was going to cook, I couldn't cook any of it because we didn't have a cooker, so I had to rely on sandwiches. So I had a torch pointing it at the old bread, finding the blue bits so I could pick the blue bits off.
This is like the war.
Yeah, and I turned to her and said, you know, I was on BBC One twice, only 2 nights ago. And here I am picking the blue bits off bed by torchlight. Oh, not off bed, off bread, that was a different... There was some blue bits on the bed, but...
We don't talk about that.
I think you're all right. Bread's all right if you just pick those bits off.
Just chop it off and have it.
I agree with the
That's what Rivita is, though, pretty much, isn't it?
What? Blue bits?
Yeah, just dried out bread.
You are.
747, aka Busy Tails, I don't know why his nickname is that, has put, you should have run the extension lead from that socket to your flat, you donut. I like the fact that he's called you a donut.
No, it's a good idea, though.
Yeah, you could have.
But how could I find the
with a couple of extension
It was
cords,
too dark to find the extension lead, let's face it. What I'm going to do is get a luminous extension lead for... I was also quite worried because it was common emergency areas. We live quite near to St Thomas's Hospital, and I had an idea when I plugged the kettle in that all the life support machines would go down a notch. And, you know, as much as I love a nice copper, it didn't seem right.
Doesn't seem fair, does it?
But when the lights finally came on, it was something a bit sad about it.
Did you hear a sort of round of applause throughout the building?
It's not that kind of flats. No.
Butlers sighing.
Exactly.
Really.
Exactly, yeah. And irate millionaires going, what's about that? What's going on here? There's a lot of that going on in the... Yeah, it's those kind of flats. But,
Lars Ulrich is the drummer in Metallica, everybody.
Is he?
Yeah, sorry.
You could have sung along to some Metallica songs while you were...
Yeah.
While the lights went
Hulk
down.
Hogan was nearly in Metallica, so I was reading this week.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you reading a biography of Hulk Hogan?
Who isn't?
Or some lies about Metallica.
No, that was what he said in an interview this week.
Jan Ulrich was the cyclist who doped and got caught from the Tour de France.
Thank God,
There's a lot of Ulrichs about, isn't there?
Oh, we're disseminating information this morning.
Today.
He just had a nice glass of milk by the looks of him. Hulk Hogan. Anyway, look, the power came on and it was all done and dusted, and it was like that moment when Dorothy wakes up at the end of Wizard of Oz and it goes colourful again. It was a special episode in my life I shall long remember. The Guardian.
Absolute Radio with Frank Skinner.
What else?
Alright.
My cake just came in.
Your birthday cake.
The cake came in. One candle, which I thought was quite diplomatic. I mean, it was an enormous, gnarled, old candle.
I thought you said it was an enormous cake. It could have fitted them all on, but...
No, that wasn't that big a cake.
Skeet Ulrich is very good looking. That's an Ulrich to fancy, 526.
Oh, Skeet Ulrich, the German
Skeet Ulrich?
clay pigeon shooting champion.
Of course, my mistake. Yeah, should have known.
This is the major texting of the day.
It's
Name
not.
your Ulrich. What have you got?
Favourite Ulrich.
It'll be Ulrich on the night.
Loving it. Welcome to the show. I feel you've truly got your membership now. You've got your England
Once you've
cap.
done a croaky pun, you're in. Yeah.
Dare
you know
call
what?
that a croaky pun?
I wasn't calling
Good.
that one.
That was a good pun. I had a really weird week. I recently moved in with my boyfriend, the first person I've ever lived with. Quite exciting, and
I like the way you did that, slightly distant from the mic and then close to the mic.
Yeah.
It suggested you moving in.
As if he's leaving.
Yeah.
I like to bring distance.
Is he called Mike, your
Spatial
boyfriend?
movement close to Mike.
Oh, perfect.
And I have found out that it's not normal to put your socks on first in the morning. And this is something I didn't know until I lived with somebody, because I've done that all my life. And apparently that's weird.
Socks on with nothing else on.
It's the first thing you put
Go
on.
easy.
No, I know, but we need to know, don't we?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the first item of clothing.
You mean he's seen you get dressed already when he just moved in?
What?
Don't look with boys. Don't give them too much too soon. That's my advice. Well, I can't. I'm very much a traditional pants on first. I think that's because I don't know what it is. I always think someone's going to come in.
But that's why I put my socks on first, because fire alarms. That goes through my head.
It would have to be one hell of an inferno for me to leave without my pants. I'll tell you that. I think if someone did come in unexpected, you just got your socks on. It looks like you're just waiting for someone to come in while you haven't got your pants on, and you put your socks on because I'm wandering around. But you know, it looks like a trap.
It's more funny than the just pure nakedness, isn't it? It's naked and socks.
Well, that's the other thing. Is that I'm guessing you're a white ankle kind of a sock
That
person.
is very presumptuous.
Yeah, it is a little.
What are you? Football socks, lederhosen? What have you got?
Yeah.
What is it?
A cashmere knee. Do you go for a cashmere knee sock? No, but it makes a difference, because if white socks, I think it's all right to be naked in white socks, but any other coloured sock looks ridiculous on a man in particular. Black socks.
I would say a white sock is probably the least attractive of all the socks.
Oh.
I I'd go as far as to say I would be put off by a man who wore just white socks.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you got to have a rule.
This is why Michael Jackson had such a troubled love life. People were repelled by his fabulous glittery white socks, which I
But
think...
he just had socks and a glove, so he
Yes.
you
don't want to walk in on someone with just socks and a glove, because the options are too terrifying to
It just
imagine.
makes you wonder, doesn't it?
What would you put it down to, the socks first?
Well,
Are you able to...
it's the fire alarm thing. When I was at school, we were always told you had to put your socks and shoes on first and then leave the building.
Well, that's the trouble if you have a bonfire in the day room on a regular basis. There's always a fear that the building could go up at any time.
But also, I would class socks very much as as an underwear item.
Mm-hmm.
And B,
Would you?
that's the piece of my body that gets dry the quickest, because obviously I've journeyed.
What, your socks?
No, my feet. So they're the driest bit. That's that makes sense to put on your socks over your dry, because your feet have.
You mean in
water
case of
across
a
the carpet.
fire, you feel that you see your feet as some sort of kindling? It can go up at any time. This is why Kate Winslet got the old lady out the house so quickly, because you're so dry at that age.
She had the feet.
Oh, it's like having a Yuletide log in a corner of the room. You've got to get her out. If you have any strange habits you'd like to tell us about, you can text us on 81215. That went very one show. It was a one-show moment.
Or things you didn't realise were weird until somebody else pointed them out.
Absolute Radio with Frank Skinner.
I think we've had a text, haven't we?
We've had various texts about strange habits. We've also had a text saying, have you any idea how unattractive the socks-only look is? No wonder it's taken this long for someone to move in with her, which seems a bit unkind to Holly.
That's from my boyfriend as well.
Yeah,
which makes
yeah.
it twice
Yeah,
as painful.
Yeah, that's from Mike. your
Somebody
boyfriend.
else's husband puts his t-shirt on first and then leaves it a while to put any other item of clothing on, so just walks around
In a t-shirt,
in a
90.
t-shirt and that's it.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah, I
really
used to live with
nice-
Top Cat. And he used to put his waistcoat on first, and then a straw boater, and then nothing else.
Really? Is it like a newsreader?
Yeah. Is that what they do?
I've always
I don't know, I've
assumed
never
that
been
they've
out
got-
of the newsreader.
I've
but
always
I'll take your
assumed that
word
they've
for
got
it.
jeans on under that suit. You know, the bottom half.
I'm going to ask Sandy
I
Waugh
know.
now.
Oh, yeah, we can find out.
She's got the newsreader
have,
inside info.
I'm fairly sure somebody told me that like when you're wearing a tailored suit, the way to dress is to put the socks on before the trousers, because if you put the trousers on and then bend to put the socks on, you crease up the trousers.
Oh, that makes
But then
sense.
you should put your shoes on as well.
Arguably,
And that's
yeah.
going to be difficult, putting a shoe through a well-tailored leg.
That's a good point.
That is a good point.
That's
never
why
occurred to me.
Disregard that. That's
That's
bad
why
advice.
Oxford bags were invented, and indeed slip-ons.
Oxford. Oh, the slip-on shoe, right? Yeah, yeah. You could just wear
Right,
a loafer. That
or
would
a
sort that
slipper,
out.
like a fluffy slipper.
Yeah.
Do I like a fluffy slipper?
No,
Was that
you
the-
you could just
Like-
wear a sort of fluffy
Oh,
slipper.
I thought you were giving me a choice of birthday gifts. Okay, I'll have a fluffy slip. Could I have one of those that's almost feather? You know those ones when you think, is that fluff or is it feather? It's so light on the front of a...
Who's ever given
don't-
you a pair of feather slippers?
Well, no one yet. But, you know,
No,
stick,
but it's your
stick
big day,
around.
innit?
I'll tell you what my habit is, which I wasn't really aware of until my girlfriend pointed out, is that I clear my throat quite a lot.
Oh, really?
It always sounds like I'm about to say something of great import. Sometimes I've been in groups of people where they're not used to me, and I go, and they all stop,
You
ready for the speech.
you also have an annoying habit of banging a spoon against a glass quite often.
Yeah, exactly. That's the other one, yeah. And standing up at any sort of dinner, large dinner. No, it's true though. I got that. And my
Either that, or
She gives
she's
me-
either that, or she's always doing something that you want to pull her up on, but don't quite have the guts to say it.
yeah,
so-
exactly. That would be more of a. No, I wouldn't dare do that. My girlfriend shrugs in the night.
Oh, really?
Like I've asked her something that she's not very interested in. Yeah, I can feel it going through the mattress. Her,
Oh,
her
that's
shoulders
weird.
shrugging. I think she dreams a lot about indifference.
My mum does a sort of version of that while she's awake, where she'll just go every now and again.
Now that's
she'll
the
just
walk
give you
over your
that-
grave theory.
Yeah,
isn't it?
but I mean, it's happening 4 times an hour to my mum. I don't know if
also,
her grave's on a thoroughfare or something.
I don't know. Yeah, and also the rise in cremation doesn't seem to have affected the walk over the grave thing at all.
I grind my teeth in my sleep, which must be awful for the wife to have to.
What have you
sleep
got a
next.
lathe?
It's horrible. But And apparently my weird habit in the house is I'm not particularly tidy, but if we're sitting down to watch something on the telly, I have to have the areas that I can see between me and the television tidy. So I will tidy up the areas of my peripheral vision.
Oh, I
so
like
there
that.
could be extreme untidiness just out of view, doesn't bother me. But within where I'm looking, I like my peripheral vision, so I keep saying, hang on, before we sit down to watch The Killing, let's say, I need to sort out my periph. So
See,
I do
really?
periph watch. Yeah, I can't bear the tidy.
But then
I'm
you
not
could
that
turn your
tidy.
head and then your periphery would just
Yeah,
extend.
I mean the next logical step is for me to get blinkers to watch the telly.
Blinkers, that's a brilliant idea. Or a room that's quite narrow at one end and a bit wider at the television
I'm
end.
very happy in hotels, surprisingly.
Yeah, what you...
Yeah, that's what you get in a hotel. You get sorted periphery.
Yeah.
They guarantee you'll have a clear periphery.
Too many
a sorted
cushions on the bed.
periphery. I like... isn't the word potpourri? Are you sure you haven't got mixed up?
Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
Oh, we were talking about strange habits, were we not?
We were. We've had a text in from someone saying that their colleagues enjoy wandering around the office barefoot. And they're suggesting maybe
This
that's...
is from one of the disciples. We hear from them occasionally.
They're still about.
Oh, God, they're still about.
They've split up by now.
No, I think one left early, but the others carried
They're
on.
quite like the sugar babes in that respect.
Yeah, exactly.
They sort of get replaced.
Yeah. I was thinking Atomic Kitten. Seeing Judas as
Too
the sort
soon.
of Kerry Katona figure.
We could do this radio show anytime from 1992 to now with these sort of references.
Well, we could come back 2,000 years for the disciple stuff.
811 has texted in saying, I find that old men in swimming pool changing rooms will always go socks first and can sometimes spend up to 20 minutes before even considering putting on. I'm assuming they mean putting on other clothing, but they do that, yeah. Maybe they know about the verruca, the old men. Maybe they're like years in the game.
I think you'll find that that's just hardening of the arteries and other things that cause a paleness of the feet. They haven't got socks on at all.
But also, I would say that that's the stupidest thing to do because everybody knows in swimming pool changing rooms you put your socks on last because it's always wet on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
You say everybody knows, but not the elderly.
Maybe they knew. They've forgotten and having to relearn that.
Oh, no, that's terrible.
How's your verruca?
I think it's... I can't really tell how it is.
You're not
to be
charting
honest.
it. You're not.
I'm not carefully charting it now. I've
file down.
I'm trying a different method every week. We keep getting emails with people suggesting. Somebody this week suggested I used. I forgot that. It's something about peroxide or something.
Yeah, was it something?
I don't know. I don't know. End up.
Give it
with,
highlights. Give your
yeah,
verruca some
I
highlights.
don't want blonde feet. It'd be like. If it's blonde feet, it'd be like Arthur Miller in bed with Marilyn Monroe, with her sleeping at one end of the duvet and me at the other.
It's
What a
here.
fabulous recreation of an old Hollywood marriage that would be.
It's using H2O2 hydrogen peroxide worked
no.
for me. I think I used 35%. What does that mean? Within
I
a
think
week.
You probably mix it with water. I think.
No, you do. It's
35%.
like alcohol. You mix it with Coke or tonic water.
A mixer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Widely
Okay.
available mixer. Within a week they were gone. Dab verrucas with a Q-tip dipped in H2O2 every night and morning.
Who's that from?
That's from someone that sent us an email.
Oh, okay.
I like the fact that no chiropodists
Mo.
or trained experts have offered any sort of
No, I'm
advice.
happy to go with Mo's mixers as an idea. I think that's
Mix and mo.
yeah, that's a brilliant idea.
Mix and mo
I've-
toes.
a bit of
Mix and
maybe
mo. Mix and mo toe. I mean, there's so much in.
I'll get a pencil and paper and you'll.
Fix.
Yeah, no, that'd be good. I might have a peroxide and Red Bull to speed up the process, and also to improve my tap dancing. Now, my current thing with the verruca is I've bought one of those pipes that the old snake charmers use, and I just play it at the opening, hoping I can lure the verruca out. Anyway, I don't know. We got on to
strange
verruca.
habits.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of my strange habits.
Mine's tidying up my peripheral vision and yours is playing a pipe to your own feet.
Mine's verruca charming. Oh, it's hot in here, isn't it?
I also have a strange habit of pretending to be Welsh or Scottish for whole days at a time around the house.
Do you really?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah. I'll be in the house going, all right, love, how are you? Oh, I'm great, me. And my wife would just be looking at me like, what are you doing? I just do it for ages and don't even realise I'm doing it.
That's a fabulous...
You have no idea.
Oh, no, I know I'm doing it, but I can't get out of it once I'm into it. It's very strange. And the Scottish one's a slightly strange, aggressive one, where I'm like, I'm going to batter you. See you, I'm going to batter you.
Can you keep that up all...
Well, I can do that for... I mean, my wife's been quite close to leaving several times.
What is she, anti-Scottish? Well, if they get independence, do you think you'll have to drop that?
Maybe, yeah, I don't know. It wouldn't change the accent, would it?
That's slightly terrifying, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
no, but it feels like you'd have less right.
Every time she opens the door, she's worried which Alan's going to be there.
Yeah. Frank, thanks for doing the Byron. 040 has texted in. I don't know what that means.
Thanks for doing the Byron.
What's that?
I don't know. It could be referring to a joke that I did the other night that died a terrible death.
Oh,
could
really?
be referring to that.
Oh, sorry.
Well, I had a Byron burger pre-show.
Oh, nice.
And when I was doing it, I'm doing gigs at. I'm not plugging it. It's at the Noel Coward Theatre. I'm doing gigs at the moment, and I went on stage and I had quite a big piece of burger in my teeth. And so I had to pick it out, and I said, I've just had a Byron burger. And I said, they're nice, but I find them less lyrical than the Shelley burgers. Nothing. Absolutely. Not only nothing, but a kind of a loud nothing. An aggressive silence, if you can imagine such a thing, of outrage. Not only...
A lot of Coleridge fans in that.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of that. You could smell the laudanum in the air. But there was...
The opium den out the back had gone to your head.
I wish you wouldn't talk about Chinatown like that. But no, it was one of those where I thought, it was a long shot, let's face it. But
in that sort of situation, all you want is one person to laugh, and you feel like you've done a good thing. But if no one laughs, you just feel like a fool.
You know what? Even I didn't laugh. It was that kind of gag.
Uh-oh.
I said it, and I just felt people thought I was being a bit hoity-toity.
Absolute Radio. Frank Skinner.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. And I'm with Alan Cochrane and Holly Walsh.
I read a story this week.
That was Holly Walsh. This is Holly Walsh.
Sorry, hi.
This is Alan Cochrane. For the avoidance of doubt. Yeah.
I'm waiting for my voice to break.
You read the story. Was it Stick of the Dump to a group of awe-struck school children?
Okay. What, you read Byron this week, though?
I did read Byron.
We found that out.
I decided on the cheeseburger.
So, talking of cheeseburgers, excellent link. The Duchess of Cornwall this week asked people to come up with recipes for.
Are you saying that because she looks like a cheeseburger?
She doesn't look like a cheeseburger.
She does a bit. With her blonde hair representing the cheese.
If anything, she looks like a cheese meatball.
Okay, I'll give you that.
So she's asked people to come up with recipes for the Queen's 60th anniversary that's coming up.
Yeah.
For example, did you know? I didn't know this, but
I believe they're calling it the Jubilee, aren't they?
The Jubilee.
Or is it Diamond? Is it?
It's the Diamond Jubilee.
Diamond Jubilee. Yeah.
Did you know that coronation chicken was invented for her coronation?
Do you know? I had no idea about that. I thought coronation chicken was an Indian meal. It's got a kind of a curry feel to it.
Yeah, it has, but they put it all together, as a mark of respect to her coronation.
They used to do these things. I remember at school having some Churchill's funeral profiterole. Dark chocolate, of course, out of respect. Yeah, I think they often celebrated a major national event with a food stuff.
I can see the similarities between a profiterole and Winston Churchill, weirdly.
Yeah, well, times have changed.
But I was thinking my choice would be, because obviously coronation chicken isn't exactly not like a normal mixture of foods. It's got sort of raisins in it, or sultanas.
People get angry about sweet and savoury together, don't they?
Yeah.
People get uppity about that. I don't mind it, but people do.
Chill is based on the old light and dark thing, isn't it? Or the Shakespeare play where you get the tragic moment followed by the comedy characters.
Indeed. I mean, it follows a format, but people still get uppity about it. I stand by my point.
People get uppity about all sorts.
We need to come up with some more suggestions for them, for what recipes we could come up with
She's asked,
this week.
is it school kids? She's asked to come up with the classic sort of Silver Jubilee thing.
Yeah, don't ask school kids, because all you'll get is sweets and bogies, isn't it?
That's what they call
fish fingers and all that.
Jubilee pasta is pasta with sweets and bogies.
Oh, please.
Right.
Some people are having their breakfast listening to this.
Sorry.
Jubilee cereals.
Whatever the pudding is, it should be called Lovely Jubilee.
Yeah.
Lovely Jubilee.
By Rusty Lee. Sarah Lee.
I heard somebody call the Jubilee line the Jubilee line the other day.
Very cockney.
Deliberately.
Yeah, no. They thought it was called the Jubilee line. I thought lovely jubbly. I thought that could actually be.
Was it David Jason?
It was. Yeah, it was lost.
Yeah, I think since the Queen's bodyguard, he's just been wandering around London in his socks, saying all sorts of odd stuff.
Just his socks.
Oh yeah, he's completely gone. It's a terrible thing. I had to help him the day. Nearly fell through. You know, one of those things in bars where they lift the flap up. He looked to me like he was going to lean on where the gap was. I managed to stop him just in time.
Did you say mind the gap?
I did on the Jubilee line.
Yeah. Somebody has texted it. Remember a minute ago we were doing the thing. The lady texted about.
Don't ask me that on my birthday. I don't remember a minute ago.
The lady that texted about her husband wearing only his T-shirt. She's texted again saying the comment about my husband and his T-shirt habit you read out. Because no one said it was weird, he now thinks I'm the weird one. She's a bit... I mean, we're all weird in our own way.
I think the thing is, though, and I know where she's coming from, but I think you've got to be able to relax in your own home. Do you know what I mean? And if he feels good in just a T-shirt, I mean, we're talking about length. If it's a crop top, I can see that
a boob tube.
Yeah. But if it's a lengthy T-shirt, I think...
I'm glad that's what you meant when you said we're talking about length.
Can I remind you, it's 9... What is it? It's 13 minutes past 9. Yes,
you wear only a pyjama top, don't you?
I do, exactly.
Yeah,
I think that...
Holly's now looking at it. How come Alan knows that?
Yeah.
I can assure you we've talked a lot on air.
Yeah, it's... I think it's important to be able to relax in your own home. I mean, Holly's only just moved in with her boyfriend. It takes time to get to this level. Already, you're happy in just your socks.
No, I've always done that.
Yeah, but some people, when they move in with someone, they think, oh, well, I better put on a bit of a false front.
Oh.
And let me rephrase.
My wife did that the night we met.
Did she?
Turned out it was a wonder bra.
Oh, God. Thank God it was a wonder bra. I wonder where we were. Well, I think we need to get out of this link. I think we're playing with fire.
Absolute Radio with Frank Skinner.
We were just talking about special meal being arranged for the Queen's Silver Jubilee.
Well, they want a new recipe that they could call the Jubilee meal or whatever. So everybody goes
Lovely
on
Jubilee by Rusty.
Lovely Jubilee, yeah.
I definitely want Elizabeth's. I know that.
What's that?
Seconds.
Oh, nice.
Is that a real?
No, it isn't. But it should be at the Jubilee meal. Does anyone want Elizabeth's?
My parents have a saying that they once went to dinner with someone, and at the end of the night they weren't allowed any more for like seconds because someone said that this was an Edward meal, meaning that Edward would be eating it the next day. So from now on in our household, we call everything an Edward. Is this an Edward meal? Means that we're not allowed to eat any more of it because we have to eat it the next day.
I've never heard of that before.
No, I don't. I think it's just that our
family shorthand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
An
Nice.
Edward meal. Smashing.
I don't know what I'd make for the Queen. For the Jubilee. It's a diamond Jubilee. Maybe she should just have diamond white, get her really drunk, and then she'll eat old boy.
Of course, she is the only person, I believe, who can kill swan. So let's have swan.
I think.
Well, that's the weird thing, that it said in the article that she doesn't like fussy food, and I was thinking, you're the only person that's allowed to eat swan, and you don't like fancy food.
How do you eat swan? I imagine it on a silver platter with a sort of a hot dog roll attachment for the neck.
No, they just deep fry it. They just dip from the neck down.
Oh, the neck becomes a handle.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
So the only bit you don't want to eat is the neck upwards.
You'd have to wait for the rigor mortis to set in a little bit. You don't want your swan flopping all over when you're trying to eat it like
I think you can get a neck brace specially for it.
Oh yeah. It's get us one that's been in an accident.
There's plenty of those around.
I have a meal that I eat, especially when I'm sort of ill or not feeling too happy.
Is it a barium meal?
It's but you get pasta and then you get cuppa soup, and you put the you cook the pasta and then you put raw cuppa soup on it, like not a lot of liquid in it, and then you just grate loads of cheese over the top. I reckon I'd put that one in.
Where's the juice coming? Where's the moisture?
There isn't any juice. It just thickens it.
Oh.
It's delicious.
Really?
I promise you.
I don't like the sound of that.
I class myself as a bit of a food snob, but that is amazing.
What worries me is that copper soup, against all its natural instincts, has been forced into a meal where there is neither a cop nor is there any soup.
Exactly. How does it feel about it? That's what we need to ask.
It doesn't really fulfil its name.
No, it's a hostage to fortune, copper soup in this case. I feel sorry for it.
About the Duchess of Cornwall starting this is that her son is Tom Parker Bowles, the food writer. Surely, just ask him. Save a lot of faff. You don't need to ask the school kids. It'll be done by the end of the week.
It's never struck me before that he's called Bowles and he's a food critic.
I suppose it's the E in Bowles, isn't it?
Yeah, but there are people that can be led on by their names that.
Yeah, I met a bloke who worked for a freezing company and he was called something Frost. It did tickle me. He must have had it every day, but it really tickled me.
No, that was David Jason again. He's been wandering around.
Frost.
He now thinks he's actually Inspector Frost as well. He's completely lost it.
Do you not have a weird combination of food that you like, that other people don't seem to like?
I like cheese and sprout sandwiches.
Do you?
Mm.
The Brussels sprout.
Or they're lumpy.
The Brussels sprout is really maligned. It shouldn't only be eaten
it's
at
a
Christmas.
Wonderful thing.
Very nice.
It melts the cheese, that's what's brilliant
Wait,
about
so you get a bit of bread, and then you take a whole sprout, or you cut them in half?
No, a whole sprout.
You don't cut them in half?
No, it looks like you know when the myxomatosis thing, it looks like a rabbit's head from that era.
You should get a sprout donut.
You should. So, if you have any ideas for the Queen's, whatever it is, Jubilee dinner, let us know. See, again, it's gone very one show. I don't feel I'm flowing.
12:15.
I'm not flowing today. I'm sounding like some sort of phony old DJ from way back.
Absolute Radio with Frank Skinner.
We've had a text in about your show, Frank.
My show?
Your show. Oh, we're not going to stoop to start mimicking my accent.
No, I'm terribly sorry.
Hi, Frank. We came to your show on Wednesday night. Just to let you know, we didn't die on the drive home. Brilliant performance. Icing on the cake would have been you playing your uke. I'm doing your show next weekend, so I'm keen to know how it's going.
Well, it's going. Generally, it's going very well. That particular night was. I wouldn't look back on it as it was. I think it was the narrator at the opening of A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens who says it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. So there was some tremendous moments, and then there was one very difficult. Well, I have a sort of quiz at one point where I get up 2 volunteers from the audience. And someone said to me, "Oh, choose my friend, choose my friend." And I looked at her friend, and all my comedy instincts said, "Don't choose her friend." And so I chose her friend. And it went quite wrong. She got on stage, and I said, "Right, do you want to do the quiz?" And she said yes. She came up, and I asked her the first question. She said, "I didn't know there'd be questions." Okay. And it got worse from there, and I won't go through the whole rigmarole, but I ended up in a situation where I said to a member of the audience that I hope they died in a car crash on the way home. And I said quite slowly, and I said, I hope that you remember this moment when you're being cut out of the wreckage with oxyacetylene equipment. I think I sort of... I didn't exactly. I apologised. Later in the evening, as I calmed, I said, I'd settle for a mild concussion. And I think the last link, I said it just a migraine. So I steadily calmed, but it was.
He giveth and he taketh away.
It was very odd. I did the opening monologue from Richard III at one point.
Did you?
No apparent reason other than the strange woman who'd come up on stage, was sort of hunching lower and lower. as she spoke, and I started going with her, and next thing I know, now it's the winter of our and I just did the whole... So it was, as I said at the end, it was profoundly live.
Yeah, it can really slip away from it.
Oh God, the quiz went very, very bad indeed. And there was actually a moment where about 6 people were going off.
Oh, really?
To you,
Yes.
or to the lady?
Well, I like to think it was for her, but I can't be totally sure.
You don't want to be caught by that stray bullet, do you?
No, exactly, but it could have been me.
I should say everyone in the room who isn't a professional comedian is listening to this through their hands, like, ah! Like, proper horror, and everybody else is like, oh, you know, it happens.
So I haven't heard off for many a year. But, so at the end, when I went on for the closing link, I claimed that it wasn't me who died during the quiz, and it had all been done like Sherlock. And the 2 people were 2 volunteers from my homeless army, and we'd set up the whole thing, but no one believed that.
Spoiler alert there for anybody that Sky Plused it, I suspect. Was it?
It was. Yes, it was difficult. Oh, and at the very end, I always leave the stage to Tomorrow from Annie. You know, the sun will come out. And instead of going off stage to that, I did a sort of modern interpretive dance to it.
What, to the lyrics?
Yeah.
Or just to the events of the evening?
No, to the lyrics of, you know. Anyway, so do come along and see us. But,
probably take the train home.
Yeah,
as
get
well.
get the train home because you know, things are getting quite dangerous out there, I would say.
Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
We've had a text in from Brian in Liverpool. I once told people that I feel stupid when I bite my fingers when eating a sandwich, only to find out that it's only me that does it. Good. I like that. Good lad.
I'm trying to work it out. How you would do that? You would...
Yeah, if you were old, you just...
Overbite.
His fingers are coming...
He's got an overbite.
Well, he's either overbitten or he's overreaching with the fingers. I think he's a man who's worried about dropping the sandwich, so he's holding it in two.
Maybe he's eating one of those overfilled sandwiches that you sometimes get. You know, when you get a little head of steam up when you're making a sandwich, you think, yeah, I'll pop a bit of that in as well. Oh, and a bit of that. You must be like that, where you're piling pickles.
Throw in an extra,
No,
an extra sprout.
Too many sprouts.
So 8 sprouts.
I'll put
in
a cabbage in. Cabbage sandwich. I have had cabbage. I've had almost everything on a sandwich. Yeah. The great thing about sandwiches is once you get to the thing where you can just, you know, eat it like that, you don't have to add much washing up to do. See the bread as a substitute plate and work on that. That's my advice for the morning.
Yeah. Thanks, Brian, in Liverpool.
So we were talking about things going a bit wrong at work, generally speaking.
Oh, I've had a few. I once had a job where I was sort of a part-time worker at a place, and the boss I didn't like, and she didn't really like me, and she told me off and turned away. And as she was talking to me with her back to me, I was making faces, you know, like, yeah. Only for her to look up and go, you know, I'm looking at you in this reflection here. And I was like, like she was just watching me go, really immature.
Can I verify you weren't making the sound?
No, but I was trying to let the radio listeners know. Because everyone knows what that face is.
Oh, yeah. And you did it so well.
Well, I was signing up for them.
I was a little bit offended just seeing you recreate it. I felt an air of disrespect.
I used to work as a chambermaid in a hotel, and...
Who didn't?
I don't want to break it to you listeners at home or whatever, but people who work as chambermaids quite often help themselves to things, as in, if you haven't eaten your biscuits, they'll start eating them, or, you know, things like that. And somebody had left some chips on a plate, and me and the girl I was cleaning the room with started eating the chips, and they walked in to find us finishing their meal.
Was this in the 19th century?
They didn't have chips in the 19th century.
I thought they did in Birmingham. So get over it.
Absolute Radio. Frank Skinner.
We move towards the last sections of the show.
Actually, you've gone all sort of commentator on it.
Yeah.
There's a little, like a golf tone to your voice or something like that.
Sort of Peter Alice.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Oh, I wish. That would be lovely. Anyway, look, I have something of an announcement to make.
Do you?
Now that I'm in golf.
Clear your throat.
Hold on. So I'm going to be a father.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's what people always say, isn't it?
Your birthday and a baby.
Yes, I thought I'd rob in the fact that I'm an older parent by announcing it on my...
And you are, somewhat. I mean, are you slightly paranoid about any jokes you've made about famous ageing fathers in the past?
What, the David Jason element?
Was he an old dad? Older?
Oh, God, he was...
older?
wasn't he 67 or something like that?
Was he really?
Yeah.
John Humphreys was... And who was the famous one? Was it Des? Yeah, it was Des O'Connor.
The way I'm seeing it is I probably won't have to deal with those difficult teenage years. I'll be out of there.
Every cloud.
Yeah, exactly, that's the way to look at it. No, it's... I mean, I haven't really spoke about it to anyone, but I thought, as you and my radio family...
You thought we'll broadcast it to the nation?
Well, I feel that the people who listen to this show, what is there, 30 of them? I feel that they're intimates of mine rather than audience members.
I imagine they're group texting each other right now.
They might...
They're all sitting in the same room. They all meet in a church hall somewhere
in the day room.
me.
I've already made certain pledges, first of all, I don't want to be, and I know you do this occasionally, Alan, but I don't want to be one of those comics that does material about their children, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be a comic like me. That would be a regressive step for your career, Frank.
No, but you know what I mean? I once saw Robin Williams do a whole sort of 25-minute thing about nappies, and I thought, well, I know what's in nappies. Well, where was the surprise element in this?
Well,
you can say that about any observational comedy, though.
Yeah, but there's something...
I've been on a train. What do you want about? Yes, I'm eating airport food. What's the point?
Yeah, but there's something about... If people who don't have kids, they don't want to hear people who do have kids talking about having kids. That's my theory. I was once out... I went to a contemporary dance event with Tony Adams, Lee Dixon of Arsenal, right? And
Who hasn't?
Yeah, it was a... Okay, it's against the grain, but the three of us went, and Adrian Childs as well. And we went for a dinner after, and there was lots of non-football people at the dinner. And me and Tony Adams was talking about football, and he was really, he was telling me loads of information. And Lee Dixon said, Addo, put the ball away, mate. And I've said that to my girlfriend, Kath, a few times. We've gone into baby talk, and I see people glazing over, and I say, Kath, put the ball away.
Great.
So.
You know it's not a ball, don't you?
It looks like a ball from the outside.
Up at the top, but it's not a ball.
It's a bump.
Oh, it's not. Oh, that's fair enough. Also, I always think that, when people do that stuff, the funny things that kids say, they say, oh, my kid said this thing the other day. I always think if I was a child, I'd never bond with my father if I knew he was using my material.
Yes.
Yeah. I'd think, just write it down, I'll use it when I get older.
526 has texted his congratulations already.
That's fantastic.
Isn't that nice? He's quick off them.
I'm going to remember that from 526.
Yeah. That's nice.
So there's so few numbered congratulations I find in life.
Yeah.
So obviously it's going to change my whole... when you get to my age, you get up 5 or 6 times in the night anyway, so that's not going to...
Absolutely. It's the perfect time to start breeding.
But our producer, Emma, is actually leaving today to have a baby. Daisy, who wasn't...
They're not related, you should
No,
say.
no, it's not that. Well, the babies might be related, but not to my
knowledge. The Arnold Schwarzenegger about you.
Yeah, thanks very much. Well, can I just say, I don't want to quote my own jokes, but there was a man in the audience last night from California, and I said, isn't Arnold Schwarzenegger the governor of California? And he said he was, but he isn't anymore. And I said, I think you should anticipate his return. And the audience laughed, and I thought no one would get it, and I was so pleased. Anyway, so there I was talking about babies, but then I remembered a joke I did. But I got excited.
This is what your child has in store.
Exactly. No, it's very, very exciting, and all that stuff.
Her congratulations has come in from 526 now.
Oh, sorry.
He's texted in congratulations from himself and from... I imagine his good wife or spouse or a female that he's
surely, I expected 6 to be her surname if it's his wife, but I thought she'd have a different first name.
Oh, maybe it's Mrs. 526.
Oh, okay. Old Ma 526 has texted in. So it's a good. You have Cockerell Jr. Of course. It's a good move, isn't it?
Man. Yeah, it's great. Honestly, it'll open up a whole new world of excitement. You see the world through fresh eyes again.
Well, ever since the power cut, I'm thinking I need something to play with if there's no telly?
Exactly.
Yeah, because kids are battery operated, so that's fine.
That way.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Of course, you'll be next once them socks come off. Oh, dear. But it just means I'll be up for the show a lot earlier and stuff like that. So, go on, what else? So, what I'm saying to the listeners is get knitting.
Yeah, hearty congratulations.
You can, speaking of surprise downloads, you can download Not the Weekend podcast, which will be available from...
It takes 9 months to gestate.
Yes, it's actually due. It's due on Wednesday. That's the due date. But we don't want to induce the podcast if we possibly can. Mark Crossley is expected shortly.
Very
pregnant pause. And with any luck, it won't be very jaundiced when it arrives, the baby. If you're not listening on Absolute Radio, you won't get that joke, but I'm about to play Yellow by Coldplay. Anyway, if the good Lord's willing and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back this time next week. Thank you so much for listening, and ta-ra a bit.
Absolute Radio with Frank Skinner.